Hey all you cool cats and kittens! It is the weekly old school Q&A livestream! Yeah! With me is Mod Arcane.
Hey!
Mod Tide.
What up?
And Mod Oasis.
Hiya!
And behind the scenes we have Mod Spear, the livestream producer, and we've got Mod Bruno on Twitch chat. So if you tag at OldSchoolRS, Mod Bruno will get your questions into the doc so that I can read them. Please don't have any, bizarre names, so I don't read them wrong. Okay, so Q&A announcements. As always, we have a few announcements. On Friday, we released our Leagues 2 Trailblazer blog. It's where you are locked to Misthalin, and players must complete certain tasks in order to lock further regions of the map. But be warned, because you can't unlock every region, so choose wisely. We also have the blog features some relics. We won't tell you all of them, just a few. And we also include some new cool passive effects. So please use the command !Leagues for more information on that blog. We also have Mahogany Homes, the new construction activity. That has passed a poll. It is closed and everything's passed. So we're working on that to get that developed. There's no ETA yet, but as soon as we know, we will let you know. You can use the command !Construction to find out more information about the construction activity. We also have a new quest that we've introduced to you guys called the Porcine of Interest. This is a novice level quest aimed to onboard new low level members on the skill Slayer. We also have recently added a new poll question following your player feedback, so please check the blog using the command !Porcine. And also, we have one final announcement. We have just announced that we are doing the 10th annual Golden Gnome Award nominations. So, nominate your favorite video makers, live streamers, cosplayers, artists. Anything you like, nominate them. You have until the 30th of August. You can find the form using the command !Gnome. Deadline is 30th of August. So, get your nominations in now. Okay. Normally, we ask everyone in the chat, how they're doing to kind of, ease the, pressures of the first part of the live stream. However, we were given a question from a player in today's tweet that we did that asks a good introductory question. So, Foil Island is asking the JMods, and we'll start with you, Mod Arcane. Do you think hot dogs are sandwiches?
No, I don't think hot dogs are sandwiches, as they are one singular piece of bread, and the definition of a sandwich is two pieces of bread. I'm going from that.
Go on, Tide, what are your thoughts on this?
See, the way I see it, it seems more like a long roll than anything. Maybe a type of soft baguette. It's not a sandwich.
I can see Oasis is really thinking about this one. So go on, tell us your answer.
I'm gonna say hot dogs are wraps because you wrap it around the meat instead of sandwiches.
Alright. That is our introduction question. We will now proceed with the Q&A livestream. So we've got quite a few questions. Since last livestream we did focus primarily on leagues. We will now focus on all the Q&A questions that people are asking about random stuff. So, starting with the first one, Mod Arcane. Ramen Sushi is asking, can we get an option to turn off auto trim of all skill cape in your progression upon hitting another max skill, so we can get the chances, so we can stop doing the drop trick to keep our untrimmed skill cape?
I remember seeing this question asked a long time ago, and I think the conclusion then, which I think I agree with to this day as well, is the difficulty of getting an untrimmed skill cape isn't so much about actually getting that skill first these days. So such as Slayer, getting Slayer first is a bit more tricky than, say, getting hit points first, for example, or maybe strength first. But the difficulty these days is actually managing to keep it untrimmed past the initial 99. And so many people have gone through that pain of effectively having to do this drop trick 99 after 99, and that's kind of where a lot of the effort comes down to these days. So I don't think we can really change it at this point. I think it'd be a bit unfair to all the people that have done it.
Cool. So, Mod Oasis, this next question is for you. Double Curious is asking, it was mentioned in the Gazette that there were thoughts on doing a wilderness boss rework. Where are you with that, and are there still plans to do a rework so they aren't safe spottable?
It's still in like the long-term plan for for PvP in the wilderness. I can't say anything's been done well. There are designs floating around for what we want to do with them. Definitely like making sure they aren't safe sort of spottable, and then reworking some of their mechanics. I can't remember who, but one of the bosses can just like one-shot you or do an incredible amount of damage. So kind of making it a bit fairer so you don't have to safe spot them. It's definitely still on the cards. It's not been like removed or we've suddenly decided not to do it, but not in the near future, I'd say.
I know that in the Ferox Enclave update, there were some hints about it in the dialogue with some of the NPCs.
Yeah, I wrote that dialogue and I have a design on what we want to do with them. So I have a bit of a vision of where we could kind of place them to make it a bit fairer. If you want to find a bit more, you can look at that dialogue for like the little teasers that I put in there.
Cool. So we mentioned the Gazette in this question, and I want to go to Mod Tide about something we talked about in the April Gazette. We mentioned back in April that we were thinking about doing a settings rework. Can you talk us through, Mod Tide, what that is and giving us some progress on how it's coming along?
Sure. So, currently in game, the settings are they're just not very nice to use. Everything's behind a menu. Well, it's good behind a menu anyway, but they're just all in random places. There's no real order to any of it. And so, what the setting rework is to create a nice place for settings to be held. So you might be able to search through them. They're ordered by maybe by categories. Just make it nice and easier for players to use. So, have we got that GIF handy?
Yes, we do. Mod Spear, take it away.
So first, we have a reworked side panel. So it's been dumbed down to only contain the bare minimum settings you'd probably want to change from a side panel, and then everything else you can open the settings interface for. Can we show that GIF, please? This is the actual settings interface, holding all the settings, and as you can see there's a nice search bar up there. Sorry about the colours. For some reason my screen to GIF isn't very good. So some of the slider colours are not there, but yeah, and so I mentioned a second ago, you can search these. So here we are. You can start searching through all the settings in the interface to find what you're looking for. And edit them where you want. Hopefully this will make it nice and easy for new players to find what settings there are, and what they can change, and they're not bombarded with information straight away on a side panel, and it's not confusing to them. And I hope you guys like it too.
There's a lot of pogs in the chat. Alright, so in regards to that settings, one of the players, Ness and Porky, wanted to know if there's any plans to add, such as a shuffle music button or an ability to add music to a favourite playlist in the future with the settings rework.
Cool. Can you say it again, please?
Ness and Porky wants to know if there's any plans for a shuffle music button or an ability to add music to a playlist, for example.
I don't think there's anything like that thought about for in the future, but it would be a nice idea. Put your favourite tunes onto a playlist so you can jam out while escaping. It sounds pretty good.
It would just be sea shanty too, about like 5 times, right? Do you have any planned release date expectations for this?
Currently there's no real planned release date. But I'd imagine when everything's done and past QA, probably ship it when we can.
And finally, with your settings rework, what is one of the most challenging parts to do when overhauling the entire settings menu?
It's making sure you don't mess up which setting goes where. You don't want one toggle to do one thing and then you've switched it with another. But the hardest thing for me has got to have been implementing those sliders properly. Sliders have been the bane of my existence for this project. They've been a pain because we can't just add them to an interface. You have to do it dynamically, and it's pretty hard.
Cool. So if players have any future suggestions on how they'd like the settings rework to look, or any particulars, should they tweet to you at JagXTide?
They definitely can. Like, if there's some settings you think that should definitely be on the main side panel, whether they be you need them for your PKing or to make you safer in the wilderness, or just because they're always used all the time, send me a tweet. I'll have a look.
Cool. That is a preview of the settings rework. So we mentioned it in April, working on it. It's not been forgotten. So if you have any suggestions, please make sure to tag ModTide on Twitter, so at JagXTide. Moving on, we've got a question here from Shea550 for you, Mod Arcane. When Fossil Island was introduced, we were originally supposed to see a Scotizo-esque boss creature. We also have huge Leviathan fossils, and currently, outside of an obscure prayer training method, extra fossils have zero use. Now that Sins of the Folder has been released, could the team please revisit this?
Yeah, I remember the design floating around for like a build your own boss kind of thing. So you use all these fossils and you make your own boss, and then maybe depending on how you made it, it'll have different mechanics, etc. And it was amazing on paper and really cool, and it's something a lot of people would want to do, but it's just a massive project. Like having to effectively design multiple different bosses just for one boss, and it'd be fairly niche as well, just because currently the amount of fossils you can get is you kind of get a lot of them, so then maybe that'd have to get revisited. And in the end of the day, I think it's a really, really big project that people would like to do, but we have a lot of really big projects that we'd like to do, and I think there's probably a lot more that would have a better, wider appeal, maybe. I think it's still something we'd like to do in the future, but I don't think it's going to be a priority thing to get this fossil boss in the game somehow. I think a more realistic thing would be maybe just trying to find another use for the extra fossils, like the rare fossils, since they are very, very limited right now. I'm not sure what that could really be at this point.
Well, I've seen some people saying maybe turning them into XP, but if people have them stocked up quite a lot, that would be a lot of XP stock.
Potentially, yeah.
Alright. Mispa is asking Mod Arcane, can the Gauntlet please have a jar of crystals added to its drop table? It's one of the best looking bosses and would look great in Achievement Gallery.
I do agree with Hunlef looking absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorites as well, visually. Really, really cool boss. I'm not sure how much artwork it is to really make these, but assuming it's not too much work, I'd really like to see this as well. I think it'd be really cool. I can imagine it'd hold a decent value as well. The proposed drop rates that this player gave were fairly reasonable, and I'm not sure how many people really do a lot of Gauntlet, especially Corrupted. It's fairly difficult, it's gated behind quite a hefty quest. So I imagine it would actually have a decent value. Should be quite cool.
Maybe one for the future. Mod Tide, we're going to you for this one. Netty23 is asking, could you add the ability to obtain lower level diary reward items after we've already obtained the higher level versions? Currently, once you complete a diary, the item reward is upgraded and its previous version becomes unobtainable. Perhaps through a transmog on the diary reward or a statless cosmetic item given by the diary taskmasters. It is for Fashionscape after all.
Well, it would be nice to be able to get lower tier of the items just for the Fashionscape. You would have to create a lot of new items, because then you'd have to have one for when you get to tier 2. You'd want the previous one, tier 3, depending. You want the previous one as well in tier 4. It would all depend on the teleports and ops that you have on the object itself. It's not as simple as recoloring something. But I don't. But then going back to it, I don't think we should. Once you've got to that, then you should stick to it, really. You've completed the diary there. Maybe allowing people to put it on an armor stand in their player own house and change it back and forth, but not be able to use the ops or anything. I think that'd be nice.
It looks like a lot of the people actually just want the gnome banner.
Gnome banner, ooh. No, never mind, yeah.
Oh, change your mind. Yes, let's do it right away.
Gnome banner.
Okay, so we're going to start with you, Mod Oasis, on this question because it's for everyone. So, okay, Sal. Score. We'll start with you, then work up. Score is asking, thoughts on a hardcore ultimate Ironman? 1 life, 1 inventory.
I think, like, as a game mode, it makes sense. You got, Ironman, hardcore Ironman, ultimate Ironman. So why not hardcore ultimate Ironman? But then I kind of think, how many people would actually play it? Because the ultimate Ironman community, although, it's really strong, it's not too heavy of a busy of a game mode. So I think it'd be like a good thing to put out to the players. Like, do you want this? And then go with it there. I think it'd be quite interesting to watch, at least.
I think it'd be pretty cool, because everyone would be going back to old strategies where they couldn't heal themselves and use different inventories to hold their items.
Yeah, I think it'd be quite good streamer content, especially. It'd be quite interesting to see what they come up with to get around like all the obviously inventory issues that the game mode has. Just to be a negative Nancy, though, is probably extra high scores work. Which we know how that goes right now.
The chat is saying we should straw poll it. So, Mod Bruno, if you can, potentially put a straw poll out for the players to see their thoughts on hardcore ultimate Ironman, 1 life, 1 inventory, yes, no, or skip. And we'll see that at the end of the live stream. Alright, so next question is for you, Mod Arcane. Humidify is asking, currently God pages have no real use after the completion of the books. It's been previously discussed giving them an additional use. Therefore, it is difficult to drop knowing a further use might come in the future. This subsequently takes up bank space. Could you add a page or a folder book similar to the Master Scroll book that could act as a storage for duplicate God pages? And a follow-up is, Mod Ash has expressed an interest in banning God pages from making burnt pages. Are we still interested in the idea?
It's not been brought up a lot recently, like at all. I think it was brought up quite a while ago, and that's probably when Mod Ash did express the interest in it. It was like quite a neat idea, but I don't think it's really got anywhere since. I do know the pain as well, where you're taking up like 20 inventory bank spaces, just sat there just in case something does happen, right? It's not really great, but in a sense, it's also a trade-off, right? Like, you're keeping it just in case, and that's just kind of like the hoarding mentality, right? It wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would kind of suck to drop them all or throw them all into the coffer and then the update comes out, right? I understand the feeling, but I'm not sure adding an item to alleviate that storage just for this weird issue, which wouldn't probably be an issue if we did decide to add the burning pages thing in the future anyway. Feels a bit awkward. I wouldn't really want to add something just for this. But I think, again, it's a bit of a trade-off. It does have its uses, and if you really want to wait it out, sure, but there hasn't been any movement on that front, so I think you're pretty safe dropping them or coffering them at the moment.
Cool. So far, the vote is going live. It's at the top of the Twitch chat. We currently are asking your thoughts on a hardcore ultimate Ironman. It is currently at 61% yes, 30% no, and 8% skip. So keep on voting if you'd like, and we'll reveal the results at the end. Alright, Mod Oasis. Mr. Ethan is asking, can we get farming patches to recolor when you use...
Oh, sorry, my internet cut out just as you finished that sentence.
So did mine.
I think we're literally at the limit of how many we call them locks, but location like the model for the farming patch. So I think we physically can't put any more colours in for the different type of compost. It'd be nice, but I think it's. I'm going to say the word. I'm going to say it's an engine limit.
Cool. I see a lot of people in Twitch chat actually saying their internet's not working or people are DCing. Hopefully it's fine. Seems okay. I mean, I can hear you guys, so.
Yeah, they're saying engine, so.
Okay. Cool. Other people are saying it's fine, so we'll continue. If it was me, my bad. Alright, Mod Tide. Kiza12500 is asking, what are the team's thoughts on adding Skillcapes to free-to-play? The perks could still be just members only, for example.
Me, I haven't really heard any chatter about the team, but for me personally, I don't see a problem with Skillcapes going to free-to-play as long as the perks don't work. It would be nice to be able to show off in free-to-play. Hey, I've got 99 in cooking or attack. But then the question comes down to if it's in a members area, how would you actually get the Skillcape? Or maybe if you become a member and you get the Skillcape from there, you can still use it and wear it in a free-to-play area.
Cool. So, next question is for you, Mod Arcane. King Adam Mate is asking, can we have Trouver Parchment work for the Twisted Ornament kits so that if someone dies with the Twisted Ancestral, they keep the kit itself, similar to other untradables? Currently, it is lost if the Ancestral is lost with no gain to anyone.
I'd have to look at what the rule is for Trouver Parchments currently. I think generally it's for untradables, where in a sense, Twisted Ancestral isn't untradeable. Would you just keep the kit and then they would still get the Ancestral then? So it works a bit differently. I don't see much harm in offering this, but I think generally, because Twisted Ancestral is just a cosmetic thing, I'm not sure if we have Trouvers on other purely cosmetic things. I think it's generally awkward to get untradeable for some stat benefit, like Inferno Cape or the Imbued Mage Capes or Void, etc. Where there's an actual benefit. This would just be to flex your Twisted Ancestral while deep build the PKing probably. But again, there's not much harm in that. So maybe.
We have a few people asking why would you PK in Twisted Ancestral, but
yeah, there's not much incentive.
There's some people out there. The poll has ended, and it is at 60% yes for Hardcore Ultimate Ironman and 31% no. Just in case you're wondering.
Not enough.
Yeah.
It's not a 75, guys. Alright. The next question here is for you, Mod Oasis. Menaphos is asking, are there any plans to add the minigame reward shop that was voted in a decade ago?
I remember this being brought up with Ferox Enclave. I was talking to Mod West about the little underground area that he put in to hint at a couple more mini games. I think if and when we eventually get around to adding, those couple more mini games that could go down there, it'd be a good time to do it then. Especially if we do a few on the trot. So hopefully in the near future. Because I know that people definitely really want Stealing Creation and Fist of Guthix is the other one.
Yes.
Wasn't it the issue of the actual shop itself passed, but none of the rewards did?
Yeah.
So could add it. Could add an empty shop though.
We could add an empty shop.
We did. We were talking earlier. I think me, Mod Husky, about having a wallet for all your currencies from different mini games. I thought that could be a nice reward for the minigame reward shop.
Would we pull it separately for Ultimate Ironman?
Yeah, sure, why not? I don't know.
I mean, we've recently have done quite a few Ultimate Ironman specific poll questions as well. Things like the plank stack. We've also recently done the costume rework. So it's not out of the question to do another one, but if we are allowing them to hold currency, like hollowed marks, things like that, might be something of consideration.
Yeah.
Okay. So next question. Mod Arcane. Bertie is asking, everyone nowadays got a pet, but they kind of feel useless besides showing it off. Can we have the abilities added to them, like the rune crafting pet gives runes at times, the boss pets can maybe sometimes attack an NPC you're fighting, etc. If there is another very rare drop, maybe the pet will pick up coins.
I don't understand where this comes from. Like, the entire point of a pet is like this really rare chance of just getting something you can show off. Like, the minute you start putting abilities on them and like actual in-game benefits, like, it makes you feel like you have to get it to do things like efficiently, and I just don't think this works at all.
Seems very overpowered.
Yeah.
A for
Such a rare
effort
drop.
on.
There's no...
We should give the guy some credit. Like, they tried to come up with a design, right? Like, A for effort. Gotta be nice here. Smackdown, it means. Because just like smack down the person's response. It's like, no, we are not doing this.
But the question is, if these pets get to do something, what about my pet rock or my pet cat?
Pet Rock already does something. It opens the door for you.
That's true. Now that's overpowered. That pet does something.
Yeah, I just got used to it.
No,
Cats
it's
kill
pet
mice, get you spice. I have the uses.
This is going down a dark hole. Like, can of worms is just reopening here. Right. Next question is for everyone. So we'll start with Arcane this time and then work our way down. Serbin189 is asking, when did everyone first play RuneScape and what was your favorite year in RuneScape?
Start with me. Okay. I don't remember what year I played. I was very young. I think I was like 13 or 14 at the time. And I think RuneScape 2 had just recently come out. And I had a pretty funny memory of just having my friend like pay me to like run Essence for him or something, and he paid me absolutely nothing, but I thought I was getting an amazing deal, and I thought I was making loads of money. But he was basically just scamming me and making me waste my time. Good times. But after that, I think I was on and off for years. But then I've recently picked it up again 2 years ago, and I've been playing consistently ever since. So I'd probably say the past year has been my favorite, just because I've been basically playing the entire game from scratch. Yeah.
Mod Tide?
Created my first account back in 2006. I don't really remember what I was doing back then, but I had fond memories of playing with my friends, and I remember I used to kill moss giants in the Varrock sewers to make money, and I remember saving up to buy my first granite maul. That was fun. You know, the satisfaction of working for your items. It was fun.
What about you, sis?
I'm going to say 2006. And I just have a strong memory of not knowing how to do anything and doing everything really badly, and then spending the rest of my time in free-to-play trying to figure out how to get past the wall and break into members without having to pay. I was an interesting kid, but yeah, it's just a lot of just doing whatever you want, innit?
I have another really fun memory that I just remembered as well, and it was like me and one of my best friends at the time were on this like really poor laptop. Like, it was really late at night. Parents weren't supposed to know that we were playing like on the laptop and everything, and we were just like peeking at the wilderness ditch, like Gmaul rushing people, and obviously not really getting many kills because we didn't really know what we were doing. But just doing that over and over and over again, just drinking a bunch of Red Bull, staying up all night, basically making no money at all. But it was a really good time.
I used to be like in a warring clan back in the day, 2006, 2007, and we did that quite a lot. And my mum hated the fact that I was staying up late, so she put like a blocker on RuneScape to like not allow me to play. So I just VPN'd that, and I was like, that ain't stopping me. Yeah, so that's good. Cool. Everyone that's asking like, why are you asking these questions? They're related to old school. They're related to RuneScape. They do essentially tell us like, tell you that we play the game. We do care about the product. So if you don't like the question, sorry. All right. Next question, Mod Oasis. King Adam Mate is asking, can you get a message upon receiving a pet that informs you to take it to Probitter in Ardy to insure it? A lot of new players I've met had no idea that pet insurance was actually a thing, and they're risking their pets on death otherwise.
Yeah, I don't see the harm in doing that. It is on the easy Ardoin achievement diary. But I mean, you might miss that as well if you don't know too much about achievement diaries. So having it on the first pet you get kind of does make sense. Just as a nice little thing to say to take it to Probita in Ardy. Yeah, I think it can be done quite easily.
I think the issue with this is a lot of players who get a pet and they're not aware of this, they might miss the chat message as well. I know a lot of people who have got like a skilling pet without realizing and not really understood for a couple of days until they realize this thing's been following them for such a long time. So like putting a chat message, like they clearly did miss the original message anyway. Like there's ways around that where you can have like the obj box, which like stops you, but obviously if it's a boss pet, then like you don't really want this like box interrupting combat at all. So I'm not sure the best way to like make sure someone knows about it.
You can only do so much, I guess, without like stopping the game saying you have a pet. You can only hold a hand so much, I guess.
Yeah.
What about the instead of a chat box message? What about a notification instead? The top box on the top of the screen.
Yeah.
What, like adventure
Hopefully
packs?
Yeah.
It won't go away until you click it or something.
No, it stays up there for about 8 seconds and goes away. It's not that big. It's not intrusive, but you'll see it's there.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, that could work quite nicely.
I feel like we've started kind of a support group in the chat because there's a lot of people like, this happened to me, I lost my first pet, and now everyone's kind of like telling their stories of how they lost their first pet. And it's like one of those like anonymous groups, you know? Just like my
We're all
first
here
pet
to help each
encounter.
other.
Yeah. Hey, the next question is for you, Mod Hyde. Vitor Bomb is asking, can all skills be included on Tutorial Island instead of putting the tutorials outside of it?
It sounds like a good idea on paper, but this would extend the tutorial probably by quite a lot, because what skills does it currently do? I think it does all near enough most of the free-to-play skills, and shows you about your friends list, the settings menu, and other things. I could, instead of doing that, why not add a new quest which a player can accept off the island that sends them around teaching them all the different skills instead. So then they're learning while they're off the island as well, so they can get around, so they can learn to get around too.
It is essentially an information overload if you add too much to Tutorial Island. Like, we want to give them enough to be able to at least function when you hit Lumbridge, but we don't want to give it so much information that you're just like, what was that skill again that I was just talking about 2 hours ago? I see a lot of people saying they agree with like quests versus adding to a 2-hour long tutorial. So it's good. Alright. For you, Mod Arcane, Edge6969 is asking, why does some stores always have a 0 stock on something? Why not just remove those items from the store? I think this makes the store very confusing. For example, the store Gerant's Fishy business always has 0 stock of trout, but it still shows trout in the store.
I mean, I'm not sure why they always have 0 stock in terms of, like, if there's a proper, like, a reason for it. But there is a purpose in terms of, like, you can sell them items to the store. So, in this example, you'd be able to sell trout to the store, while you wouldn't be able to sell something that the store doesn't stock. So it has a purpose. You can debate that purpose isn't very useful, which I could agree with. I don't know. I think some stores have had stocks reduced because like Ironman could use like mains to buy from them, but now we can have like separate inventories and separate stores for Ironman to stop that. I'm not sure how confusing it is. It might be a bit weird that they keep coming back, thinking that they'll eventually restock that trout. Yeah, might be something we could do with the UI as well. Might maybe try and display how fast something restocks, and then you could clearly display that this thing doesn't restock, which might be a better solution instead of just flat out removing it.
Why is everyone saying nice? Is it because I said 6969? Is that like a thing?
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Hey.
Nice.
Alright. This one is for you, Modtide. Dirt Prince is asking, what are your thoughts on re-adding aggressive random events?
Ooh. Although normal players probably wouldn't like that, but that would. Level 3 bots would take a nice turn to Death's Office. So maybe it's a pretty good idea to bring back some form of aggressive random event.
I want that evil chicken back. Those days. Hard times, guys.
I do remember Ash, like, I think this was brought up like months ago. I do remember Ash mentioning like they didn't really do too much to stop botting. Like, in theory they would, but I think it was just as easy to work around them in the end.
True.
So maybe if they were designed differently, at least.
Don't you remember the days where like you'll be chopping a tree and then all of a sudden you're like, the hatchet is like halfway across the like land and you're just like,
the
what
axe
just
handle's
happened?
gone.
Yeah.
That just gave me like trauma, man. I just remembered that bit.
Oh, when you had the rocks as well, steamed up, smack them, your pickaxe head's gone.
See, good content back then. I think we should re-add it. That's my thoughts. Just because it's funny. If I had to suffer, you had to suffer mentality, you know?
Maybe add some new ones as well.
Let's see. We've got a question here for you, Mod Arcane. Some of these names I can't pronounce. Like, I try really hard, guys, and it's very difficult when you have very complicated names. So, be sad. Is asking, is it possible for scavs in raids to cycle through what seconds they drop? An example, if mushrooms are already on the floor, it wouldn't drop mushrooms unless those were already picked up.
It is possible. Like, just from my opinion, I think scavs are fine now. I think they dropped so many things. A lot of small scavs got removed. The quantities have been adjusted. It's so fast to get what you want now. The only minor issue is sometimes getting planks, since that's a very specific thing you want, instead of just needing kind of like everything. At the end of the day, RNG is always going to be a thing. I think trying to remove it in places is a bit futile, because like you're going to probably ask for more and more RNG to get removed from chambers, especially challenge mode. Since RNG can be frustrating if there's time pressure on the line, but it's kind of just part of the game. I think it gets a bit stale if you remove all the RNG, personally.
Someone is suggesting in the chat that maybe the first kill will always be 2 planks then. That's real.
Yeah, that would be a solution to that, because I think you kind of always need a chest. The remaining planks after that wouldn't be as big of a deal. You could have some like bad luck prevention as well, so you couldn't go like 10, 20 dry of getting planks, for example. Something could be done about that, and I think that would be okay.
Cool. The next question is for you, Mod Oasis. Strength X Krat X B X A. See, these are terrible names. Is asking, is a rebalance being considered for underused weapon classes? For example, the spear / hasta, warhammers, maces.
I think it's been talked about before. I think the issue you kind of get into with these is because the differences between like a bronze, like a adamant warhammer and a rune warhammer, the values aren't going to be crazy different. So, like, at the end of the day, unless you give them all like a really specific niche, and I mean do they really need that much of a niche on your way up to like Rune? But one weapon is always going to be the best, and that's probably still going to be the scimitar. To be honest, unless we balance it like really, really tightly, where it pushes them up and away from each other, the values are going to be, the difference between them is still going to be really small. And unless it's the attack speed, no one's going to really use it still, to be honest.
Cool. Alright. I don't even think I should say this person's name because it sounds kind of provocative. Arcane, in the past you said you were open to moving more rewards away from Nightmare Zone like we did with the spider's eggs. Are there any plans for that? Something like a sand crab boss or an essence elemental or mini games to collect them instead?
I don't think the goal is to just try and like force content into the game to, in particular, to get stuff away from Nightmare Zone. So like we're not just gonna immediately see that we need to get sand away from Nightmare Zone and then develop a sand crab boss and then put the reward there, right? But like if we're developing content and there's items in Nightmare Zone where that content would be suitable for, of course we'll take it away. Like just like we do with spider's legs. Like when we see a suitable opportunity, we'll do it.
Cool. So Raymond48156162 asks, and I'm going to take this one because ModHusky is not here. A while ago, ModHusky mentioned that there was a possibility of adding a league room to the player-owned house. The trophies could then be displayed there. Is that something that's still in the works? So, I'm currently in the process of writing the league's reward blog, if you didn't tune into the last live stream. In that is a poll question for the league's player-owned house room that allows you to store things like the trophies. The question pertains to specifically building the room, so obviously we need to poll that. I would like to tell you a little bit more about what is in that room, so you know a little bit about it. So we've got here that the trophy room is a room in your player-owned house that will have pedestals that allow you to display up to 3 trophies. You can put them on and it just shows it out in the open. There'll also be a hotspot for a trophy case that acts as a storage unit for the trophy. So all of them, the ones that you aren't displaying. It also will have a scroll that details some of your achievements within the leagues, as well as achievements throughout the leagues, such as things like leagues firsts. It'll also contain a decorative rug, so a hotspot to build a rug, a hotspot to build a statue, a banner stand to hold the banner. So as you know, in Twisted League, we had a banner. So basically allows you to display it with pride. Panic buy banners. And then a league outfit stand. So you know we have the Relic Hunter outfit. It essentially just allows you to hold that as well and display it out in the room. So that is what we're going to be polling in the future. So it's the league's PoH room. So be on the lookout. Upcoming content right there. Next question is for a Mod Arcane. Lycan 329 is asking, demonic gorillas are not classified as a boss, but they have very similar mechanics to current bosses in the game, such as Zulrah. My question is that since Zulrah has a pet, could the demonic gorilla have one?
I think where this player is coming from is demonic gorillas are probably harder than some bosses in the game, right? Like a demonic gorilla compared to like giant mole or whatever. But like I don't think it's necessarily difficult that classifies it suitable for a pet. Like it's just not a boss at the end of the day. I'm just gonna say no. Shame.
Feels bad, man. I mean, I don't really see it either. Like we have a lot of pets in game, but I don't see demonic gorillas as one that would be deserving of a pet, so to speak.
You got the monkey backpacks.
Yeah.
It's basically a monkey pet.
The best pet.
Alright. Okay. Terwin is asking Mod Oasis, as a player who likes to complete quests, I'd love to see a follow-up quest for unfinished quest lines, such as Ham, Pirate, and Slug quests. Will there be a follow-up for these quest lines in Old School?
Yeah, I think, well, I imagine someone, most likely Modhead, has written what he wants to do with these quest lines. I think it's just kind of a case of getting the time to finish them. Like, you know, Darkmire stuff was a continuation. So I imagine there's definitely appetite in the team. I like questing. So I'd be happy for them to get follow-ups and stuff like that, but it's also nice to be starting to kickstart like new storylines as well. So I think a bit of both.
I know that Modash has brought up in the past about continuing the Slug quest series. While it's not something that's definite, I think he's had an ideation day design for it at one point or another. So it's been discussed. You know, Modash quests are pretty pog, so...
Panic buy salt for the slugs.
Someone say Rat Catchers 2. I think we should read Rat Catchers 1 first, and then release a follow-up to that new quest after watching
That's right, Jimmy. We've seen that video.
Yeah.
We saw that video in which you said if a JMod gets to the end of this video, right, he is willing to rewrite it for free of no charge. We have seen that video. Watch this be clipped now and sent to him like 100,000 times. But yes, we have seen it. We do watch like people's videos. Don't worry, it's been discussed. Okay. The next question is for you, Mod Tide. DigiFreak045 asks, can we get a quality of life update for Barbarian mixes? Currently, the fish do not have an automatic cut feature. Roe and caviar are also edible and have eat instead of use as their primary option when using. Potions cannot be auto-made or make X either. This would revive the content a little bit and make the fish usable. Making a large amount of mixes is unrealistic.
See, I like Barbarian potions. It really stuck me that you can only make 2 doses when using the same vial, and you're adding some roe. But I guess you're only using half like using a 2 dose. But I think adding the make X to it would be really nice. But I would like to see a 4 dose Barbarian potion, because then maybe people will bring it with them, because you get a bit of HP from it as well from using. Although it does add a delay to your next attack, I believe, because it's technically counted as eating. But I think it'd be really nice.
Alright, the next question is for you, Mod Arcane. MillGB is asking, Redwood logs are useless for logs. That's what they said. Could you add more uses to them? Mahogany homes, perhaps?
I do agree, redwoods don't really have much of a use right now. It's like birdhouses and a bit of fletching. I think that's kind of it, and obviously like burning them for fire making, a pretty good fire making XP, if you really want to do that. I would have really liked to seen it in Mahogany Homes, but it would have been a massive addition to the project, especially in terms of art, and I don't think it really added a lot to the content. At least if you just wanted to add it, just building things in people's houses, I don't think it added too much. But maybe in the future, Mahogany Homes expansion, we've got a lot of ideas for Mahogany Homes expansion in the future, like revitalizing other areas and maybe using more expensive homes and stuff. But I wouldn't really want to see any strict, like, regular PoH construction training methods come from Redwoods, though. Like, construction's already really, really fast. I wouldn't want to see, like, a 1.38 mil XP an hour method come from it. So most of the PoH stuff would be purely cosmetic, so then you'd want to make sure everything looked pretty cool so people are actually incentivized to use them for cosmetic reasons. And I agree, they're not used a lot, and they should have an extra use.
We do have a Twitch chat question to go on top of this discussion. Ash is asking more PoH themes: Xanaris, Prif, Tazar, Canopus. So do you want to talk about what Mahogany Homes is offering when it comes to wall kits?
Yeah, so Mahogany Homes is offering a new wall kit. So the one we're offering is Hasidius, and that's the one that got pulled like a week ago and it passed. So you can look forward to grinding for that. And it does look really, really good. I'm quite excited for myself. In terms of adding more, yeah, I think we all kind of like wall kits. It's just kind of like a when. They're fairly expensive to make. I think everyone kind of likes having more wall kits, just more options. We have quite a small set of them right now, so there's not too much variation. But the last two that have been made are really nice. The Twisted one and Insidious especially have been really well received, internally and externally.
Cool.
I saw someone suggest. Sorry, I just saw someone suggest the Tsar theme. That'd be a really edgy house, just black and red everywhere.
It looks sick though.
But would you have to have an Infernal Cape in order to like unlock it?
You got to offer up one to get it.
Ooh.
Like per piece of furniture, like
Yeah.
Infernal Cape.
Have the lava on the floor and everything.
The floor is lava. Oh, I remember those games back in the day. Okay. Next question is for you, Mod Oasis. Hive Master is asking, many pet Recolours have been mentioned in the past and they haven't been further expanded on or added. Is there any progress on them? Namely, the giant mole being able to be changed to the mole that's inside the water mechanism at Motherlode Mine, and Herbivore being recolored to match the one you hunt more closely.
Yeah, I think we definitely know that people want more, and a giant mole. I think if we were to poll another pet, the giant mole I hope would be the next one because the amount of outcry for it. But I think
Pink
we
mole.
did it might have been 3 polls on the trot with like pet recolors. I know the Phoenix was one, and then Tangleroot was the other. There might have been one beforehand that I can't
Rocky.
remember. Yeah, Rocky as well, actually.
Herrings as well.
People want herrings as well, but I think we decided to take a little break with poll 72. But maybe poll 73. They're not too bad to develop. Haven't been the person who did the last 3. So.
I did say, like, when we first started poll 73 talks, I was like, poll 73 is going to be the meme poll. This is going to be the poll where we do all the meme questions. Even the Twitch chat's doing the face, right? I feel like maybe Pink Mole isn't memey enough, but it should fit on poll 73.
Can we have a wieldable chair so we can tell people to sit?
Yes, I love that. Mahogany Homes expansion.
Okay, let's just continue. Let's just carry on, guys. Annoying Dad asks Mod Tide, what are your thoughts on making the Golden Tench's attack speed as it was on launch? We now have things like the Ham Joints and Swift Blades, so it makes sense to revert the Golden Tench nerf.
That makes a good point. I think with that in mind, probably should, because it's another weapon players can go for to use when they PK. I don't see a problem with it.
Someone says, make Tench great again. So,
Oh, the Henge Tench.
I think most people are now talking about your chair. Some say like a wieldable folding chair. Like, look what you've started. Hey, on the topic of pets, this question has come up for you, Mod Arcane. Vampire Bob is asking, can we get a metamorph for the Sire and Cerberus pets? They are the only pets that aren't the same as the boss that you kill.
I think the Sire model would look really cool as a pet. I think the current one's kind of boring. It's just a Abyssal Demon, right? Like a bit of a small one. So the Sire one would look really cool. The Cerberus one I think is already really, really cute. I do agree that maybe they should just have an option to look like the boss. It's inconsistent.
Cool. Next question. Mod Arcane. Joe Muggs is asking, can the Xeric's champion, along with the other challenge mode capes, be changed to work off of a point system so that the normal Chambers of Xeric kill count could contribute? For example, 6,000 points per 2,000 kill count capes, in which a CM raid gives 3 points and a normal raid gives 1 point. This would make the challenge mode raids more efficient if the capes are the goal. This could also be implemented when TOB challenge mode is ever introduced.
I understand the frustration, since 2000 challenge mode raids is quite a lot. It takes a long time, and you probably stop caring about money and like the pet at some point, right? You're probably going to get the pet by that time. But I just don't. I think it's too late. Like maybe if it was like this from the get-go, but it still would have been a pretty weird system. Feels a bit janky, but it's just too late, I think.
People are saying not if you're sync. So
not if you're sync. Never pet, never race.
Alright, so we're not going with that. TLDR. Sorry. Right, Mod Tide. This is for you. Stern Nuts. Okay, everyone laugh it up. Do your little face. Is asking right now. Clicking on a fishing spot while fishing causes your character to stop fishing. Could this be changed so that clicking a fishing spot multiple times does not stop your character from fishing, similar to how it works for mining?
If it does for mining, I don't see why not you can't do it for fishing. The only worry would be is, would this open it up to any extra manipulation or extra increased XP rinse rates? That's the only thing you'd really have to look at when doing this. But I don't see why not.
Cool. So, the next question we have is for you, Mod Arcane. I'm cringing is the person's name, not I'm really cringing here, so that's not me, just the person's name. What is the team's thoughts on making Torag's hammers useful by giving them a blackjack special effect of potentially stunning a target? This would require the full set and possibly have a timer to avoid any PvP abuse scenarios.
I can't give the team's thoughts, but I can give my thoughts. I think this would either be incredibly OP, because the blackjack special effects is really, really RNG right now, but then when it does proc, it's actually kind of good. So making it like consistent in any way would just be insane and probably really abusable. And then if you make it so it's as inconsistent as a blackjack, then just like what's the point? Like it doesn't do anything. I'm gonna say it's probably, if we did want to increase the value of Torag's set in some way, I don't think this would probably be the way to do it.
I would like to see the hammers have 2 hits. One hit normally and then 1 hit delayed, but with reduced damage. Because there are 2 hammers and it does look like you hit twice.
Not too much harm in that.
Alright. So, I will answer this next question from the Twitch chat. Dirty Abid is asking, is Soul Wars ever coming to Old School? If it passes a poll, then potentially. We are looking into the feasibility of implementing it. We've talked about it in ideation days. We've talked about it in the gazettes. We're not saying it's never coming, but we do want to get your thoughts on it. We want to make sure that we have something that actually works. So it's not as simple as just porting it over from RS3 to Old School. It is essentially something that takes dev time. We want to make sure we get it right. We don't want to introduce rewards that are too OP. So we know that there's some concern, because I mean it does offer things like summoning charms in RS3, right? And we don't have that. So what do you replace it with? We are looking at getting your thoughts on that. We do want to make sure that we get it right before we poll anything. But again, we don't just put something into the game because you guys say we want it right now. We'll poll it. We'll see your guys' thoughts on it, and we'll see. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Who knows? All right. So, we are just about out of time. It's been an hour. So let's go through the announcements one last time. We have introduced a Leagues blog on Friday, so check it out with the command !Leagues. It is where players are locked to Misthalin, and they must complete tasks in order to unlock further areas. Keep in mind that you cannot unlock every area, so you must choose wisely on which areas you choose to unlock. The blog also features some examples of tasks and our Tier 1 relics, so make sure you check it out, check out the blog, and give us your thoughts on that. We also have recently closed a poll for Mahogany Homes. Mahogany Homes is the new construction mini-game / activity in which players are assigned a job and they use construction in order to build furniture for fellow Gillenorian homes. You have voted on the poll. The poll is closed. Everything has passed. If you want to read more about the blog, use the command !construction. Lastly, or second to last, we have the Porcine of Interest quest. We've introduced to you guys a new novice level quest aimed to onboard new low level members, new level to the skill Slayer. It is called the Porcine of Interest. You can use the command !Porcine for more information. We've also recently added a new poll question following your feedback, so take a look at it. Lastly, the 10th annual Golden Gnomes Award nominations is now open. Use the command !Gnome to find out more about how you can nominate your favorite video makers, live streamers, cosplayers, and artists. The nominations do close by the 30th of August, so get them in now! !Gnome. And that is all the announcements. So thank you guys for joining us for another week, and we hope to see you next time.